After winning the bid to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup, Qatar, a small Gulf Cooperation Council state, promised to prepare the most extravagant and expensive World Cup ever. A massive infrastructural project of $100 billion was announced to incorporate building 9 stadiums equipped with the most advanced cooling technology to beat the intense summer temperatures, which can easily rise up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit and higher. A new airport with a sail-shaped terminal, public transport infrastructure including $20 billion worth of new roads, a bridge to neighboring Bahrain, and a rail system, luxury hotels, and 54 team camps. The small emirate emerged into the global spotlight for several reasons: for the bribery related to attaining the bid, for its hostile climate, and for the most extraordinary costs of the projects associated with the world's largest sporting event after the Olympic Games. Though the world knows they are rich, questions of how they are able to meet the requirements of these undertakings continue to arise with little in terms of freshly revealing information. Suddenly and surprisingly to some, the treatment of foreign workers came to light and was revealed to be as hostile as the hot regional climate. The plight of workers who have long toiled at the front of the Gulf region's construction boom is coming into sharp criticism ahead of some of the world's most lavish building activity. What few really know is just how tiny Qatar has perfected the practice of worker exploitation in ways that would have inspired the Europeans during their colonization of the New World and the arrival of the Industrial Revolution. Even before Qatar won the honors to host the World Cup, some had begun to scrutinize the country's immigration system, which has relied on the provisions of Kafala sponsorship that have enslaved millions of workers in the whole GCC region. So what is Kafala? The words and phrases Kafala sponsorship and kafil, representing the sponsor, come from the Arabic root Kafala, meaning guardian. The term comes from the Bedouin customs of temporarily granting strangers shelter, food, protection, and even tribal affiliation for specific purposes. There are a few verses in the Quran that have some references to kafala, and in each of these verses the translations have referred to the word as in care of. For example, in one verse God places Mary, in the care of Zechariah. If one draws similarities between what is written in the Quran and the kafala in the GCC countries today, one quickly encounters problems. Today the term care has been replaced with exploitation and abuse in the relationship between the GCC citizen sponsors and their sponsored immigrants. Today the system prevails in all the GCC countries of the UAE, including Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Bahrain, as well as other Arab states such as Jordan and Lebanon. The kafala system gave every citizen in a GCC state the right to sponsor a certain number of people for the purposes of coming to the respective countries as employees or domestic workers. And generally, that sponsor would also be their employer. This is not an open system that allows foreign workers to have residency visas to legally enter the country and then compete in the labor market for jobs. Rather, each non-citizen worker enters the country already tied to a particular job that is sponsored by a national citizen or company. The worker is not free to choose his or her sponsor, as recruitment agents do this, and even when the sponsor is abusive, the worker is not permitted to transfer or change the sponsor lest he or she be deported. And once a worker is in the GCC and discovers the employment arrangement either to be poor or deceptive, that worker has little choice and cannot back out and find another sponsor. There is no other currently operating system that is as widely criticized as kafala. It ranks as badly as apartheid in South Africa. Kafala is a ruthless system, devoid of any compassion.